Right, how's it going, everybody? I'm doing a video for you all. I've got no idea how this is gonna go down, so I thought I'd do this face to webcam. Yeah. I'm not gonna be pointing out anybody. I'm not gonna be naming names. I'm not gonna be doing any of that bullshit. I've already been down there. I'm not gonna do that again. I'm simply going to point out some stuff. I've even got some stuff written down here of things that I noticed last night. Nothing majorly bad. Well, okay, a lot of it's bad. But I'm gonna try to go about this in a way that I'm not gonna piss anybody off. Yeah. Basically, everything I'm going to talk about here is just pointing out how important tactics are. And I know a lot of you don't like me saying the word tactics. I know. But at the end of the day, no tactics, no boss kill. So, for example, I've noticed that everybody is kind of set in their ways, and by that I mean you have your talents set up, your specs set up, and that's it. That's the character type of thing. In some cases, that's absolutely fine. It can also be a bit of a hindrance in some other cases. For example, I'll simply use me and my mage. Obviously, I'm not a fucking perfect raider. I do make a lot of mistakes, as does everybody. So on Mecha Talk, obviously it's a boss that we all fucking hate. But one thing that I like to do is sometimes I'll go Frost, specifically, so that I have an extra cooldown in Cold Snap, resulting in me being able to use Ice Block twice within 30 seconds of each other. And the only reason why I actually use that is for the bomb debuff and the resulting tick that it gives you when it goes off, obviously. So what I typically do is, once I get the debuff, I'll run behind a pillar and use Ice Block. That completely nullifies any damage that I would take from it, and I don't get the dot from it either. And so with Cold Snap and in Frost Spec, I can use that again. So not having the dot is obviously going to help the healers out a little bit. I mean, it may just sound like, well, it's just one little dot, but it can add up quite a bit, especially when I can take away 2 of 30-second dots, resulting in 60 seconds of unnecessary damage, basically. Another thing that I consider to be a tactic outside of the actual raid encounter would be characters. My character specifically, obviously I got a Demon Hunter who is currently about 400 in item level, but I still do relatively decent damage. But on the council, you got the 4 arsehole bosses. As an example, it would probably be more beneficial for me to go on my Demon Hunter for one specific reason, and that's for when the raptors come up. And the reason I say that is, obviously, I have an AoE stun as a Demon Hunter, and whereas obviously the raptors start off in 4 different corners, each time they come up, they do typically kind of line up near the middle. And in that point, I can use my Demon Hunter to stun 2, 3, possibly even 4, resulting in obviously them being stunned for a couple of seconds, and that can help out with cutting out any damage if somebody hasn't got any speedy boosts left, and stuff like that. But going back to Blockade, again, I'm not going to name names or anything like that, but I'm going to talk about the Ire, which is obviously the Soaky Ball gag. And there's one specific point that I think everybody should try and keep in mind when it comes to not just the Ire or that specific boss fight, but every boss fight. One thing can and will lead to another. And by that I mean, let's take the Aya for example. As we had yesterday, we did have a couple of Ayas that nobody actually soaked, and that results in everybody taking damage. And if that resulting damage takes us, or most of us, below half, then obviously a healer's going to think, well shit, better use a cooldown. So no one soaking can lead to a healer using a cooldown when that cooldown could have been saved and used somewhere else in the fight, which then results in one less cooldown for that time frame until it comes back up. So let's just say 2 minutes. And say in like 30 seconds time or something, we're going to have some more damage that we would have preferred to have that cooldown on. And that's just going to lead to more damage that we shouldn't be taking and lead to a wipe. I'm really messing this up from what I had in my head. I had a really good fucking vision in my head. And even with these fucking notes, I can't do this properly. But I hope you can all fucking try to stay on the same track that I'm on. Blah 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 blah. Okay, one last thing that I'm gonna say, just pointing out quickly again with spec wise. Again on Blockade. I've found that it's more beneficial for me to lose DPS on the boss, thus going Frost spec, in order for me to purposefully have more slowing effects for the ads, giving us more time to down it before it actually gets to the boss. I've been thinking about all of this shit at work literally all fucking day. And in my head I had this really good oh yeah, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to say all this shit, but now it's fuck me, sideways. Right. My main point is, I think everybody can improve in their own way. Obviously, I mean, even fucking people who raid in Method, I mean, they'll say the same thing, that even they can improve. I mean, Method Josh, after they got the Jaina kill, he immediately went back, watched his footage again, and told you exactly what it was he was doing wrong, and why he shouldn't have done this and why he should have done that. Everybody can improve. And I think it's important. Again, I really hope I don't fucking piss anybody off with this. I think it's important that everybody should spend a few minutes just thinking about each individual boss and thinking about different setups that they could possibly go with for those individual bosses in order to make something a bit easier. You know, like for example, again with Blockade and the ads, I've got no problem going Frost at all if it means that we can keep the ads slower for a longer period of time. Even if it does mean that I'm losing DPS overall and losing DPS on the boss, it's still more beneficial to not have the ads get to the boss, so we should be able to get the fight going longer and not wipe. This has been a complete shit show from what I had in my head, but I hope that everybody can sort of piece together my point that I'm trying to make here. And I do apologise if I have upset anyone in all of this, obviously. One last thing I will say before I go is I would like to officially name Mr. Wishblade MVP of last night's raid, as 98% of everything he was doing was going unnoticed. And by that I mean he was actually going out of his way basically all the time to make sure that the Ayas were being soaked, to make sure that stuff was getting done. And again, most of this stuff was just unnoticed, even by me, until I actually watched some of the footage back. So thank you very much, Wishy. I love you. Yeah, I hope you guys can actually fucking make sense of this pile of wank. Fuck it, end the video.